What's up, everybody? This is an episode of Crazy, Scary, Cool. Thank you all for tapping in with me. So today I'm just going to jump right in. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about fantasy football. We are at the end of the season. In standard leagues, we are heading into the last week of the season. Um, last week of the season. So a lot of fantasy managers are going to be making their last playoff push. Maybe some people have unfortunately been eliminated. Others have already clinched. And maybe just playing for positioning or scoring, whatever that may be. But I think that we haven't gotten to the playoffs yet, but I think that we have in the first 13 weeks of the season, we have seen some things start to crystallize. So yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. So again, please like, share, subscribe the Crazy Scary Cool YouTube channel. But yeah, so just gonna hop right in. So this season started off a little bit odd. Um, for one, wide receivers and passing games took a while to take off. Um, that offenses were really stymied early on in the season. So we saw some guys who really didn't put up the numbers that we expected of them. Tyreek Hill is someone who immediately jumps to mind. He had some injuries, not himself, but with Tua, had some injuries that really halted his play. Some offenses really weren't moving the ball. Um, Someone like Amon-Ra St. Brown started off a little bit slow, but at the end he started to pick up. Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Garrett Wilson, some guys that we were, or at least I was expecting them to have some really big seasons that didn't come to fruition. Um, so just I'm gonna start on the wide receiver position and jump around. So Jamar Chase has been the probably the wide receiver of the year, probably by a significant margin. He's had some huge games that we know that he can have. But he's been a great option. He's a guy that I was contemplating as taking the with if I didn't have the first pick. I took Brees Hall, and I'll get into him. But Jamar Chase is someone that if I had like maybe the fourth or fifth pick, that I would have contemplated taking around there, possibly making him the first wide receiver off the board. So I'm not surprised that he's having a great season. I'm more so surprised, one, the number of injuries. Brandon Ayuk, Rashi Rice, Stephon Diggs, Christian Kirk. They themselves have gotten injured. And then you look at someone like a CD Lamb, a Tyreek Hill, who have had injuries to their quarterback, and that's hurt their play. Even like a Nico Collins, Puka, Cooper Cup, that they've all missed time. They're not out for the season, but they've all missed time. So wide receiver, it's been a little bit odd. Chris Godwin, another guy that's gotten hurt. Mike Evans. So football has a lot of injuries, but those guys that we like some of the pre-draft rankings that we would have drawn up, um, it's kind of all over the place now. Injuries have really hurt that. Sporadic play, either by the offense or by their quarterback, has really just hurt wide receiver play. So it's been a little bit all over the place. Um, so it's been an interesting year in that regard. Why it's just odd because wide receivers are, in terms of injury, are typically one of the safer bets. That investing in wide receivers is kind of seen as a safe proposition, just because, not saying they're immune to injuries, but compared to running backs, compared to running backs, that they have are much more resilient of a position to injury. But that really hasn't been the case. And not even just with injury, like to themselves, but injury to the quarterbacks, and just with some shaky play. Someone like a Brian Thomas Jr., Deontay Johnson, like just being in bad offenses. In Deontay Johnson's case, getting traded, or Mike Williams, someone else getting traded. So it's just been a really odd year. Um, Guys that went no running back and just invested in wide receivers early, it might be kind of ugly. Um, it might not be looking good, just because just there's been so many guys that have like just have busted. Even someone like a Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith has missed some time, so it's just been a little bit spooky. So yeah, wide receiver has been a little bit iffy. I think I'm gonna break this down by position. So that's gonna be the first video that I'm gonna dedicate to receivers, and then I'm just gonna go position by position. But I've been talking about a lot about the bad. But with some of the good, Malik Neighbors has been really good. Um, he's another guy that the quarterback play has probably dampened him at times, but when he's been good, he's been really good. Nico Collins, when he plays, he's been great. Jaden Reed, he's someone that if you were able to get him late, you definitely got a stud. Um, Justin Jefferson, I mean, you're always going to see him high. Even with CD Lamb, like he isn't doing what he did last year, but excuse me, still having a really strong season. Amon-Ra St. Brown has come alive. Um, probably like game 4 or 5, and he's been really strong of late. Jerry Judy out of nowhere, putting up a phenomenal game, having like 250 something yards. So him just coming out of nowhere. So kind of some random guys. So I think that the takeaway here is that a couple things. The draft, like just after like that eighth round. Some people kind of just like put the draft on auto draft or they don't take it seriously, but you can get some studs and wise to trust in them or to really utilize that waiver wire. So that draft, if your draft is maybe 15, 16 rounds, that round 8 to 16, that every pick can be, can get a league winner. Because really that's how you win the leagues. Those first like 5 to 6 rounds, like everyone, depending on the size of the league, is going to have studs. But who you draft in the mid to later rounds, that's really what's going to win you a ring or what can get you some high scores. And just utilizing the waiver wire. You can get some good guys. Cedric Tillman, excuse me. Again, already mentioned Jerry Judy. Even someone like Josh Downs before he got injured. A Taysom Hill, even though he's not a wide receiver, just some guys, and before he got hurt, some guys that you can find on the waiver or later in rounds that can really help out a lot. So that's going to be my first edition of this fantasy football end of the year breakdown. Again, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, I'm just going to go bit by bit.